everyone, it's Miss Rossi. Today we are going to finish our underwater self-portraits. What you'll be needing today is your sketch from last week, so you should have yourself drawn with some underwater animals in the background like fish or jellyfish or sea turtles or sharks or any other little details you wanted to add. We're also going to need something to trace our drawing with. I have a Sharpie here that I'm going to use to trace. We're going to need something to color our picture in. I'm going to use crayons to color in my portrait and my fish, and then I have some watercolors that I'm going to use to fill in the background so it looks like the ocean. You can use whatever you have at home to add color to your picture. If you don't have watercolors, you can do the whole thing in crayon, colored pencil, or marker. The first thing I am going to do today is I'm going to trace my portrait. So I have my permanent marker here. I'm using a permanent marker to trace with because I am going to use some watercolors to color in the background, and I want to make sure that my drawing does not start to bleed or mix together once it gets wet. So I'm just going to go in with my Sharpie and trace over all of my pencil lines. Once I am done tracing over my pencil lines, I can grab an eraser and erase any of those pencil lines I can still see. So with my marker, I'm tracing over my self-portrait sketch, and I am tracing over my background details, so my fish and anything else I have in my picture. Everything that I drew is going to get traced. So it's going to be easier to see before we start to color in our picture. Now that I finished tracing my picture with my Sharpie, I'm going to take an eraser and just erase any of those pencil lines that I can still see. Then I can start to color in my picture. So like I said before, I'm going to take my crayons to color in my portrait. I'm using crayons to color in my portrait and my fish, and I'm going to fill in the background with that watercolor, and our crayon, as we know, is going to resist our watercolor. It is not going to let our watercolor paints cover over it because the wax in our crayons resists and prevents the watercolor from covering over it. So with my crayons, I am just coloring in my self-portrait so it looks like me. I want to pick a skin tone that matches me the best. I want to pick a hair color and an eye color that matches my hair color and my eyes. And then I can choose whatever color I would like to make my goggles and my snorkel and my wetsuit. When you're coloring in your fish, you can take inspiration from the real life fish you can watch on my Canvas page, or you can color them whatever colors you would like. The only thing we are not coloring in with our crayons is the water in the background. That is going to be done again with our watercolor paint. So I'm just going to fill in everything else nice and neatly. I'm coloring slowly back and forth, making sure I fill in all of the white space and that I am not scribbling. So I'm just going to go in with my crayons and color everything except for that background in as best as I can. And that is my portrait all colored in with my crayons. I can put my crayons away and grab my watercolor paints. You can see that with my crayons, I made sure to fill in all of my white space. I colored everything in fully, and I tried my best to stay inside the lines. Now that I am ready to fill in the background, I'm going to use my cool colors to create the water of the ocean in the background. Now our cool colors are our colors like blue, green, and purple. And I'm just going to let these colors mix together in the background around all of the other little details that I have in here. And since we used our crayons to color in our portrait, our water from our watercolor paint is not going to cover over it. So even though I do want to be careful as I am filling in this background space, it is okay if I paint over the lines a little bit in certain areas because my crayon will resist my watercolor and I will still be able to see all those amazing little details that I drew. So I'm just going to mix together all of my cool colors, my blues, greens, and purples to fill in the background. I'm going to make sure I cover over the entire background so there is no white space that is left. And then I will be all done. And that is my underwater self-portrait all finished. Once you're done with your project, you can upload a photo or video of it on my Canvas page. I can't wait to see the colorful underwater pictures you guys have created. Try your best, have fun, and get creative, and I'll see you soon. Bye!